My name is Vivienne Conway and I'm the Director of Mckay IT, and I'm just finishing a PhD in Website Accessibility at Edith Cowan University. I started Mckay IT a couple of years ago, about 2.5 years ago, because I realized that there was nobody or very few people in the field who were qualified to decide whether a website was accessible or not. We audit websites. We also offer consultation. We look at the website. We have a group of testers, and we decide whether or not it meets the established guidelines. A lot of our work, the main part of our work, has been the government, because the government has it's called the National Transition Strategy, to get governments to make their websites accessible and lead by example so that the corporates, non-profits, etc. will follow suit. Well, I think there's huge potential, obviously, because it's something I've put a lot of effort into. I think that most people are going to realize that having somebody tell them whether or not they can reach their full audience is going to be helpful, because they could get 20% more customers or viewers for their website. At the moment, the business has been solely funded by my husband and myself. He's sort of a silent director, and so there's myself and my husband are directors, and at this point we haven't seen a need for it. It may come as we go along, but at this point it's been possible to do things ourselves. Yes, we've been busy working. The first 6 months while we were getting set up was very quiet, but then we got work with the Department of Finance, and that sort of was the start of it, and our reputation has been getting out there, and we're getting lots of work. I just started working, and people that knew me knew what I was doing. The federal government knew what I was looking at doing, and they've been really supportive. At the moment, I'm a full-time PhD student until probably the end of this month. So I've been having to do this with the assistance of employees. And so I've been the director and heading it up and doing most of the face-to-face with clients. But I have a team of 10 part-time staff, and they do the testing. I've got a business manager and a projects manager, and she manages the staff for me while I'm busy finishing my PhD. But I expect that as soon as I finish that, it'll be pretty much full-time for me. The next step is really trying to reach corporate Australia with the message. We want them to know that they can, as I mentioned, they can get 20% more business, because there's 1 in every 5 people in Australia has a disability that in some way affects their ability to work, to study, or to get around. And these people use the internet, these people use businesses, these people buy products, and if their websites aren't done so that they can use them properly, then companies are missing out on the business, and people vote with their feet. They'll go to someone whose website works better for them. So we want to reach corporate Australia and to let them get the message, and also to tell them that there is some litigation risk to them if they don't do it. Launching it to corporate Australia, really, because at the moment it's been very much government, because they have been told they have to do this, whereas corporate Australia have been really slow getting the message. And so what's really exciting is the people that we've been working with trying to help us reach out to corporate Australia and to let them know that we can help them get their websites to work better. Oh, probably landing flat on my face. I think the biggest fear is that people in corporate Australia won't take it seriously. We've heard the attitude, well, I'll just wait and see if I get fined and then I'll do something. And it's kind of like pirating CDs. People that just did copies for themselves figured, well, I'm never going to get sued, it's going to be okay. So smaller businesses are the same. They tend to think, well, nobody's going to come after me, they're going to go after the really big guys first. But all it takes is a complaint. It doesn't matter whether it's Joe's Garage or the Prime Minister's website. It's a complaint goes straight to Australian Human Rights Commission. And so it doesn't matter what the size is. So my biggest fear is that corporate Australia won't take it seriously. Vision Australia are in the same field. Vision Australia, obviously their primary focus is vision disabilities. We believe that there's a lot more people out there than those with just vision disabilities. They do incorporate some other testing as well, but our idea is a more holistic approach. Yes, we're really excited that we're going to be working with REM Consulting. It's important that we work with an organisation that wants to help us get the message out, and to government as well, because then we can work through the common use agreement with them, but also to corporate because they have a bigger corporate reach, and trying to market, as I mentioned, to corporate is quite difficult, and we're really excited that REM are wanting to work with us.
I'm incredibly grateful and very excited about the future. I'm eager to work with Vivienne Conway of Mckay IT. The strategic alliance that we've formed between REM Consulting and Mckay IT, I believe, can reach the masses that really need to hear these messages. The thing that tickled my fancy so much is the fact that in this day and age, there's still somebody out there trying to make the world a better place. And if I can be a part of that, I am incredibly grateful. Part of the ways that REM Consulting will be assisting Mckay IT is through the CUA, which is a common use agreement, which is in place to facilitate different services that need to be provided to government entities. So that's one way. We're also obviously assisting her through publicity, marketing, all sorts of different ideas really, and just rallying up the support of the good people within the community who also want to make the world a better place. Obviously, the more successful any business entity becomes, the more of a responsibility that they have within the community. So I would love to see some of our great corporate names stand up and recognise this opportunity to be the leaders, to change the world for the better. I think these corporate entities have an opportunity to gain a great deal of publicity, but it's up to them whether that's going to be in a positive or a negative light. Well, really, look, it's 2014. What we're talking about now, in simple terms, is the digital equivalent of a wheelchair ramp. You wouldn't deny people access to a building, so why deny them access to public knowledge?
One of the things that I have found really, really helpful is using seniors for employees. And I think that that's something we're seeing a lot more emphasis in our communities now, is the involvement for people who are recently retired or have been retired for quite a while. When I'm recruiting for staff, I look for two different things. One is a background with some technical knowledge, which is really helpful, or an empathy for people with disabilities and understanding that it's not just another government bureaucracy thing gone mad, but that this really changes people's lives. And so I look for people that have that empathy, and I'm finding that very much in seniors, that because of their life experiences and because they're also getting old and they're finding that it's harder to see or it's harder to get around, they really understand the issue. I'm not sure if I should mention that situation with one of our user testers, and this is probably, will sort of help demonstrate what is really important. This lady has been living in South Wales. She's been very disabled all her life, being completely dependent upon other people. And she's never had a job. She's never been able to take herself to the grocery store or the bank or anything else. She decided she wanted to learn how to use the computer, but she has no use of her hands. She took herself to a training center, the Digital Accessibility Center, where they teach how to use assistive technology. They taught her how to use a program called Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is voice activation software. So now she was so good at it that they hired her. So she's surfing the net, watching YouTube videos, sending emails, researching products, ordering her groceries, doing her banking, and for the first time in her life at 62 is earning a living. To me, that makes it worthwhile getting up in the morning. It means that people's lives change for as little as it's less than $1,000 worth of software. Completely changed her life. What would have happened if she'd had that a few years ago? So, to me, that's sort of the reason why we do what we do, is people like her that could lead really meaningful lives who have been stopped up to now because they haven't the right technology there for them.